All right. So let's go ahead and start by just defining what a construction is. Okay. What it means to be a construction is that you are going to be drawing shapes, angles, or lines accurately. That's important. It's going to be 100% accurate using only a compass, a straight edge, and pencil. So we're not going to use any rulers. We're not going to use any protractors, anything like that you would typically think like to measure something. We're just going to use protractor, straight edge. I use Post-its for my straight edge, something that you can just draw a straight line. If you want to use another piece of paper, if you have a folder, like maybe the side of your calculator, something that will allow you to draw a straight line. Okay. You'll see me use Post-its. Okay. So compass, Post-its for me, straight edge, and pencil. That's all you need. Okay. So we are going to get through the first 4 of these constructions today. All right. Then we're going to save the rest again this will be comprised of 3 different lessons. All right. So we're going to start out with the most basic. And then as we progress, it'll get a little bit more complicated each time. All right. So the first one, the most basic construction is copying a line segment. Okay. So in other words, we are going to recreate AB accurately without using a ruler. Okay. So here's what you do. You're first going to draw a point. Okay. So I'm going to make a point down here. Okay. It says label this endpoint C. So there's point C. Okay. Then step 3, it says use compass to measure the segment. Okay, so notice on your compass, you have an end that has a pin and you have an end that has a pencil, right? So the pin is going to go on one end, so like point A. The pencil is going to go on point B. So that is the length of that segment. Okay, so that's how you use a compass to measure the length of something. You just open it up and you take that measurement. Now the compass, you just got to be careful that you're not like closing it or opening it when you move it. So, there's a little bit of give there. So hopefully it'll stay. So you have the length. So now you're just going to come down here. You're going to put the pin on point C, and then you're going to mark off just using a small arc here. So somewhere along that arc, that's where we're going to put point D. Okay. And then I'm going to use your straight edge. Use my Post-its to draw my straight edge. There's the segment. Okay. That's like I said, that's the most basic construction that we have. Okay. So yeah, use a folder, use another piece of paper. You can use like the side of like the calculator case, anything that will allow you to draw a straight line. Okay. Questions on that first one? So far, so good? All right. Next one. So we just copied a segment. Now we're going to copy an angle. All right. So the steps are all outlined here for you. First step, we're going to draw a ray. Okay. So I'm going to use my straight edge. I'm going to draw a ray. Leave enough space above it because we're going to open our angle above it. So there's my ray. And then it says label the endpoint Y. So there it should look like that. Okay. So again, just leave enough space above that ray because we're going to draw that angle up above it. So everyone should have their ray. Step 3, draw an arc centered at point X. Okay, so here's point X. So I'm going to put the pin on X, and I'm just going to open my compass. I'm not going to open it as wide as the angle, but I'm going to draw an arc like this so that it intersects the angle, both parts of that angle. Okay. Now I'm not going to change my compass. I want it open the same amount, and I'm going to come down. I'm going to put the pin on Y. Point Y, I'm going to draw the same arc. So down here on Y, if you move your compass, just go back up to your original arc and put it to the right distance there, okay? So again, we start with the pin on X. I just make an arc. Then I don't move my compass. I don't want to change how much it's open. And then I come down and put the pin on Y, make the same arc. Okay. That was step 4. Step 5, it says set the compass to the distance between where the arc intersects the rays of angle X. Well, what the heck does that mean? Okay, so where the arc intersects the rays of angle X. So here's angle X. So I'm going to put the pin on one end. I'm going to put the pencil on the other end. So that's what this means. So where that arc intersects the rays, you want to put the pin on one intersection. You want to put the pencil on the other intersection, like this. Okay. So it should be open that amount. It should be similar to what your arc was. You may have to adjust it a little tiny bit. Okay. Then step 6, it says use compass to construct the intersection, which we're going to call point Q, on the arc for angle Y. So I'm going to come down here. So notice that my pin is right here on this end. I'm going to put my pin right there like this, and I'm going to make another arc here. Okay, so I kept it open this distance. I'm just going to come down here and then make another arc right there. Okay, and that is what point Q is. Then step 7, draw the ray YQ. So again, you can use your straight edge. If I'm going too fast, let me know. I can slow down. So if we were to take a protractor, these angles would have the exact same measure. And we just did it without a protractor. Questions so far? So far, so good? Did you fill in the steps along with this so that when you have time to practice, then you remember what the steps are? Okay. We're going to do 2 more today. So we did these first 2. We're going to do the next 2 on, like if you flip this over, we're going to do the next 2. Okay. This next one is going to take a little bit more thinking. So get ready. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm going to flip this. I'm going to do this perpendicular bisector first because we actually need a perpendicular bisector for the constructing a line segment. So we're going to do perpendicular bisector first. It's actually the second one that's on that sheet. Okay. All right. So perpendicular bisector. First of all, down here, what is a perpendicular bisector? You know what a bisector is. You know what perpendicular is. So now we're going to put that together. Okay, so a perpendicular bisector is going to be a line that intersects a segment at its midpoint this line is perpendicular, there's a symbol for perpendicular, to the segment. Perpendicular bisector. So cuts it in half and makes a 90-degree angle with it. Good? Okay, step 1, set compass to the length of KM. So here's KM here. So I'm going to put my pin on one end. I'm going to put my pencil on the other end. Like that. Okay. Step 2, draw a semicircle arc. Okay, so again, you have your pin on one side, your pencil on the other. I'm going to draw a semicircle arc, so a big one. Yeah. Okay. Step 3, flip the compass. Step 4, draw another semicircle arc. Okay, so we just drew a semicircle arc going this way. Now I'm just going to flip the compass. I'm going to make sure I didn't move it. Yep, same length. I'm going to do the same thing going the other way. Maybe. At a weird angle. There we go. Okay, so you should have 2 semicircles. Okay. Step 5, connect the points of intersection. And we are going to call those points C and D. So I'll put C here. I'll put D here. If you want to flip those, you can. And then connect those. My Post-it is just long enough. Okay, so what we just did was perpendicular. So we have a 90-degree angle here, and it's a bisector, so that means it cuts that exactly in half. Okay, so you can see the perpendicular for the 90-degree angle there, and then it cuts it exactly in half. Okay. All right, now we'll come up and do this last one. Okay, so this one, constructing a line segment of a specific length. So it says use compass and straight edge to construct a line segment with the length of square root 10 units. LC is 1 unit in length. So you can see LC is here, so we're going to use that for our unit. Okay, so this one is going to require a little bit more thought process. All right, let's start out here. It says draw a line segment and construct a perpendicular bisector. So what we just did, and when you draw your line segment, don't make it too long, because otherwise it won't fit. So, I don't know, maybe like that. Okay, so draw your line segment, and then you're going to make your perpendicular bisector out of that line segment. Okay, so like what we just did on the previous one. Okay, the steps are all right there for you. So again, you open up your compass. Semicircle arc going one way. Flip it. Semicircle arc going the other way. Ah, I moved my compass. Shoot. Try that again. There we go. That's better. Okay. Then those points of intersection, that's where you connect. Okay, so we have a perpendicular bisector. Everyone has their perpendicular bisector? No. Just got to get through this last one, and then you can have time for your quiz. That's right. Don't forget about that. Okay. So now here's the part where we have to think about this a minute. So it says use Pythagorean theorem to find out what the side lengths need to be. Okay, well, the side lengths of what? Well, we want to draw a segment with a length of square root 10 units. This is our unit. Okay, so what that means is if we think of a right triangle, right, because we have a right angle, we're gonna draw our segment like it's the hypotenuse. So if the hypotenuse is the square root of 10, and we're thinking a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? So if the hypotenuse is the square root of 10, and that's the c squared is just 10, right? Right? Okay. So now we want to think, all right, well, what two perfect squares would add up to 10? What are our perfect squares? 1, 4, 9. Oh, 9 and 1, right? So 1 plus 9. So a squared is 1. B squared is 9, right? So if a squared is 1, that means a is just 1. If b squared is 9, what is b? 3. Yeah. Okay. So we want 1 unit, 3 units. Okay. 1 unit, 3 units. Okay. So now we come back up to our unit. Open up your compass to that unit. So we want a side that's 1 unit. We want a side that's 3 units. Okay. So from this vertex, there's 1 unit there. Okay. Now from this one, I want to move it. Okay, so here's 1 unit. Now look what I'm going to do. 2 unit. One more time. 3 units. See how I did that? So I kept it here. Marked off 1 unit. 2 units. 3 units. Okay, so here is a vertex of my triangle. Here is a vertex of my triangle. So what did I just do? Let's fill in these steps just to reiterate this. So copy/extend segment LC, that's this segment here, the unit segment, as you need for the lengths of the legs. That's exactly what I did. So I did 1 unit here, and then I did 3 of those units there. Okay. Step 4, connect the intersection points to form the hypotenuse, which has the length of square root 10. So this is our segment that is square root 10 units. Okay. So that's as far as we're going in this first day of constructions.